Hey guys, so that is Ardha Matsyendrasana, the twist that we're going to be kind of exploring and talking about today. This twist is one of my favorites because not only does it kind of help open up my lower back, but it also taps into some outer hip stretches for me. So my hips are usually pretty tight, so to kind of get a twofer in one pose is a bonus for me. This twist is also has a calming aspect for myself too, because it's a closed twist, which means you're kind of the thigh and belly, you're kind of on each other, so that connection really helps to de-excite the nervous system as well. So let's get into it. Let's talk about this pose. So I'm first going to talk about the three alignments I want you to focus on, and then we'll get into some modifications. So the alignments first. The main thing is, let me turn this way, is I want, or you should have a nice, be able to have a nice neutral spine. So if you are sitting and you kind of feel like the top of your pelvis is dropping back towards the floor, we don't want that. We want to lift the top of the back rim of the pelvis up away from the floor to keep that neutral lumbar curve. All right, so we want a nice long spine to start with. So that's alignment number one. The second one is once I have my legs crossed and I'm turned and I'm twisted, what I'm doing, the action that I'm doing with my shoulders is I'm kind of shrugging and pulling back. So it really helps to create a nice long side body. So once I have the long spine, I want the long side body. I don't want computer desk pose in this twist. So I roll my shoulders up and pull them back once I'm there. So again, I find my long spine. I get my elbow hooked, which kind of brings me into computer desk pose. But then I do that shrugging of the shoulders and pulling back to bring me back into a long side body. The last alignment is everything that's in contact with the floor or myself, I'm resisting. So my shin is pressing down into the ground. My foot is pressing down into the ground. My back hand, my arms back at an angle, I'm pressing the floor away with that. And lastly, my thigh and elbow are resisting each other as well. All right, so those three alignment cues again. So we want the long spine, so lifting the back rim of your pelvis up away from the floor. Once you get turned and hooked, we want to come out of that computer desk pose, so we shrug our shoulders and squeeze them back behind us to recreate that long spine that we're looking for. And lastly, resist all contact points to the floor, to yourself, to really bring the pose alive and activate some of the key muscles that help you come into this twist. So we got those alignment cues, and now let's talk about some modifications. First one is for a lot of, I'll do the second side here. So this way. So for some people, the bottom leg, having that hooked back by the heel, is sometimes a little bit too much for the knee. So the first modification we're going to talk about, I'll scoot back here, is just straightening, keeping the bottom leg straight. Same twist, because again, we'll support our spine, right? Back of the rim, back pelvis. the rim of the back of your pelvis. I cannot speak that right now, but we are going to lift that up. And then again, we're going to shrug and pull back and then resist everything. The floor, ourselves, coming into our twist. So that's modification one, straightening out the bottom leg. Modification number two, again, moving into it, we're lifting the back part, the back upper rim of our pelvis. And if hooking this elbow is just too much and you really can't seem to get those shoulders to shrug and pull back and come back into a neutral spine, hug the knee instead. I actually enjoy this option as well because I actually get a better connection and resistance with my forearm and my knee, and it helps me get a little bit deeper into my outer hip. So this is, I alternate between my hugging my knee and hooking my elbow. Okay, so that's a wonderful modification to use whenever you are in a practice. All right, so that's modification number 2. The third one, if you are having issues lifting the back rim of your pelvis, there, I said it right. Prop yourself up on a blanket or a pillow or a block, because what this will do, instead of having like a 90-degree hinge here at your hips, lifting your pelvis up increases that hinge slightly, which gives a little slack in your hamstrings, which will make it easier to lift the back rim of your pelvis. So then same thing. You can keep your leg straight or you can bend it in, cross over, keep that nice and tall, keep the back rim lifting, hook the elbow. And if you are up on a block, it'll probably be easiest to have a block behind you for your hand as well. All right, so we're here. I'm shrugging my shoulders up and pulling them back, creating a nice strong back body. And I'm resisting everything. My foot's pressing down, my heel's pressing into the ground, my elbow and knee are resisting each other, and I'm pressing my hand down into the block. Untwist, and then you can repeat the second side. All right, guys, so a quick review. The 3 alignments is we want the back rim of the pelvis lifting up away from the floor. We want to create the action of shrugging and pulling back of the shoulders to create a nice long side body and have a nice strong back. And then we want to resist everything that's contacting something, whether it's the floor or yourself. You're kind of finding a little resistance with those objects. Modifications, straighten out the bottom leg. Again, sometimes if your hips are a little tight and you're in this pretzel-like position, if you're kind of like tipping over like this, that's a huge sign to just straighten out that leg. Okay, so straighten out the leg, modification number 1. Modification number 2, hooking the knee. Modification number 3, propping yourself up on a block to give those hamstrings a little slack so you can lift the back rim of the pelvis and keep a nice long spine. All right, guys, if you have any questions or comments, please just reach out to me in the comments section, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, wherever you'd like. I am here for you guys. Let me see how your practice is going. I'd love to see my students practice. And if you do want a little bit more in-depth instruction, I do have Zoom private yoga sessions available. And I also have Zoom group classes, live group classes available as well. So all those links and information will be down below in the description. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time. Namaste.